These guys are not necessarily book smart, educated type people, but they have their PhDs in violence and intimidation.
May 20th, 2011. Three bikers walked into a tire shop in Maasmechelen, Belgium. Within minutes, all three were shot dead, and their bodies were dumped in a canal. That's Belgian Biker War. And for over 2 decades, Belgium became a war zone. Three of the world's most dangerous biker gangs fought for control. They turned peaceful streets into battlefields and killed anyone who stood in their way. This is the story of the Hells Angels, the Outlaws, and the Bandidos. 3 gangs entered Belgium. Only one walked out alive. How it started. It all began in 1997 when the Hells Angels set their sights on Belgium. The world's biggest biker gang already had chapters in over 60 countries and was deeply involved in drugs, weapons, violence, and organized crime. Their arrival wasn't sudden. It started in 1989 when a group of Belgian bikers formed MC Belgium, wearing black and white patches. For 8 years, they proved themselves worthy. By 1995, they became hang-arounds, allowed to associate with the Hells Angels but not full members. In 1996, they advanced to prospects, one step from full membership. Then, on July 15, 1997, MC Belgium officially became a full Hells Angels chapter. The red and white colors were now in Belgium. Police knew this was trouble, but they had no idea just how violent it would become. 1999. Belgium bans the Hells Angels. Just 2 years later, Belgium did something unprecedented. In May 1999, a court in Ghent declared the Hells Angels illegal, making Belgium the first country to ban them completely. The court labeled the Hells Angels a private militia, which is illegal under Belgian law. Authorities hoped the ban would stop them. It didn't. The Hells Angels went underground, becoming more dangerous, more violent, and even more determined to control Belgium. Just 2 months before the Hells Angels were banned, another gang entered Belgium. On March 5, 1999, the Outlaws Motorcycle Club opened its first Belgian chapter in Mechelen. The Outlaws were older than the Hells Angels, founded in 1936 in the US, and they hated the Hells Angels with a passion. Their rivalry was both territorial and personal. With both gangs now in Belgium, bloodshed was inevitable. The Hells Angels expanded strategically, creating a puppet club called the Red Devils. By the early 2000s, they controlled Belgium with their main chapter, the South Crew in Bergen, and 10 Red Devils chapters across Kalmthout, Houtholst, Ingelmunster, Gavere, Doornik, Limburg, Liège, Brussels, Alter, and Ghent. 15 clubs in total. They were firmly the largest biker organization in the country. The Outlaws, however, were building their own network and refused to be pushed out. The stage was set for war. The Bandidos. A third front opens. A third gang entered Belgium. The Bandidos Motorcycle Club. Founded in Texas in 1966 and known for their Fat Mexican logo, they were one of the biggest biker gangs in the world. The Bandidos arrived in Belgium in the early 2000s, starting small with 1 chapter and 2 support clubs, known as the Compadres. But they weren't new to European violence. The Nordic Biker War from 1994 to 1997, the Bandidos had fought the Hells Angels in Scandinavia in what became known as the Great Nordic Biker War. They used rocket launchers, anti-tank missiles, car bombs, machine guns, and hand grenades. On March 10, 1996, at Copenhagen Airport, Hells Angels ambushed Bandidos members returning from a biker conference. 6 Hells Angels opened fire, killing 1 Bandidos member and wounding 3. On October 6, 1996, the Bandidos retaliated by firing an anti-tank rocket at a Hells Angels clubhouse party in Copenhagen, leaving 2 dead and 19 wounded. The war raged for 3 years, leaving 11 gang members dead and 74 more targeted for murder. Violence only stopped when both sides realized they were destroying their own drug businesses. On September 25, 1997, the Hells Angels and Bandidos signed a fragile peace agreement on Danish television. When the Bandidos came to Belgium, they brought that same Nordic war mentality. The Belgian Federal Police immediately labeled them a criminal organization alongside the Hells Angels, Outlaws, and Blue Angels. The Bandidos established their presence quietly, but the Hells Angels had made their decision. Belgium belonged to them, and no other international gangs were welcome. The Hells Angels sent a brutal message. Their target was the Compadres, the Bandidos support club in Landen. They struck with precision, first attacking the Compadres' president at his home and beating him bloody. They then kidnapped him, forcing him to lead them to the clubhouse, where 7 members were inside, unaware of what was coming. The Hells Angels burst in, wielding hammers and metal bars, beating all 7 men and hospitalizing them. The president was forced to watch his brothers being destroyed. Then the Hells Angels stole the vests, the colors, the ultimate humiliation in biker culture. One Compadres member later told police, "This could be the start of a biker war in Belgium. But we didn't ask for this. We're social people. The Hells Angels are the antisocial ones, but we won't back down." That defiance defined the Bandidos' presence in Belgium. The 2020 shooting. The conflict didn't end there. On June 16, 2020, in Flenu, gunshots rang out near Rue du Moulin d'En-Haut. Workers called police after seeing 4 men flee in a van. The targets were 2 Hells Angels members, and the attackers were Bandidos from the Charleroi region. A trial followed in Mons in February 2024 under high security. Tensions ran high as police feared retaliation from the Hells Angels. The Bandidos were charged with attempted murder, illegal weapons possession, and association to commit violence. Belgium's biker war was no longer just Hells Angels versus Outlaws. The Bandidos were fighting too, quietly, strategically, and refusing to back down. Belgian police feared the potential for alliances, recalling Scandinavia and Quebec, where Bandidos' Hells Angels wars killed over 150 people. An Outlaws Bandidos alliance against the Hells Angels could have shifted the balance of power and made Belgium far more dangerous. Why the Bandidos mattered. The Bandidos brought international connections, drug networks, weapons suppliers, and experience with extreme violence. They proved that Belgium's biker war was a 3-way battle for territory, drug markets, and supremacy. Unlike the Outlaws, who confronted the Hells Angels head-on, the Bandidos operated quietly and calculated, striking when the opportunity arose. The Compadres' attack showed the Hells Angels' dominance. The 2020 shooting showed the Bandidos never forgot, never forgave, and that they were still fighting. The violence begins. The Compadres attack. The Hells Angels decided to send a brutal message to the Bandidos. Their target was the Compadre S, the Bandidos support club in Landen. To complete the humiliation, the Hells Angels stole their vests, the ultimate insult in biker culture. 2009, the shooting war. In July 2009, the violence escalated over a seemingly small incident. Members of the Outlaws pushed over a motorcycle belonging to the president of the Red Devils in Maasmechelen. Later that same day, the Hells Angels and Red Devils retaliated, setting fire to motorcycles parked outside an Outlaws clubhouse. Fire for fire. But this was only the beginning. October 4th, 2009, the Kortrijk raid. 3 months later, the Hells Angels decided arson wasn't enough. On October 4th, 2009, Hells Angels and Red Devils members gathered and stormed the Outlaws clubhouse. By the end of the attack, 3 Outlaws members were wounded and bleeding. The Hells Angels and Red Devils escaped, but the police eventually caught up with them. 6 Hells Angels and 2 Red Devils went to trial. All 8 were convicted of attempted murder. 2011. The Masmechelin massacre, May 20th, 2011, was a normal Friday in Masmechelin until it wasn't. A local businessman held a small reception for his new tire shop on Industriellen. Guests from the community came, but the owner had ties to the outlaw biker gangs, and that made him a target. 3 outlaws arrived. Freddie Putt, 52, full patch, Jeff Bankin, 58, experienced, and Michael Garrikins, 28, the youngest. A Hells Angels member, Ali Ipekci, was there. What followed shocked all of Belgium. Ipekci shot the 3 men dead. Then, he and his accomplices shoved the bodies into Freddy Poot's car, drove it to a canal in IJsden-Dorp, and pushed the car into the water. It happened days after the Outlaws opened a new clubhouse nearby. The message was blunt. Belgium belonged to the Hells Angels. Challenge them, and you end up in a canal. The most expensive trial in Belgian history. Police eventually caught Ali Ipekci, and Belgium braced for war. The trial became the most expensive in the country's history, costing over €500,000 in security alone. Every day, 50 officers guarded the courthouse. When both gangs appeared, 180 were deployed. Bomb-sniffing dogs swept the area. Ipekci denied pulling the trigger, but when police confronted him with DNA evidence, he admitted helping to dump the bodies. On February 6, 2015, the verdict came in. Guilty of triple murder. Ipekci was sentenced to 30 years in prison, the maximum penalty. Freddy Poot's funeral turned into a show of strength. Nearly 200 outlaws from across Europe rode through Belgian streets together. A thunderous message to the Hells Angels and to the police. We're not scared, we're not backing down, and we don't forget. The investigation that followed was nearly impossible. Both gangs lived by a strict code of silence. No one talked, no one testified. Members would rather do decades in prison than betray the club. Then, investigators uncovered something even darker. 2 of the main suspects were Belgian Army paracommandos, trained soldiers, working as gang enforcers. The military quickly launched an internal probe. They wanted every soldier tied to biker gangs out. The idea that elite commandos were moonlighting as killers shook Belgium's defense leadership to its core. December 2012, Christmas Eve, attack. The war didn't end with Ipekci's conviction. On December 24, 2012, Christmas Eve, violence erupted again. During a rock concert in Dilsen, Stockholm, Outlaws members attacked Hells Angels. Even on Christmas Eve, the war raged on. The shootings grabbed headlines, but Belgian authorities soon uncovered something deeper. These gangs weren't just fighting for pride, they were fighting for money. The Belgian Federal Police officially labeled 4 biker clubs as criminal organizations: the Hells Angels, Outlaws, Bandidos, and Blue Angels. Investigators revealed that behind the brotherhood image, these groups were running massive criminal empires, dealing in cocaine and methamphetamine, trafficking weapons, extorting businesses, laundering money, running prostitution rings, and even carrying out contract killings. The Hells Angels alone made millions every year. The Outlaws and Bandidos weren't far behind. The motorcycle clubs were just the surface. Beneath them were organized crime syndicates with military-like structure and deadly discipline. How the government fought back. Project Highsider. In 1996, Belgian authorities formed a special police unit called Highsider, a biker term for a violent crash. The name was fitting. The unit had one goal: to dismantle the biker gangs. Officers gathered intelligence, tracked movements, monitored businesses, and built detailed criminal cases. They also worked closely with international police forces, because this wasn't just a Belgian issue, it was a European one. Belgium's location made it ideal territory. Sitting in the heart of Western Europe, it bordered the Netherlands, Germany, France, and Luxembourg, all countries with major biker activity. Experts noted that many gangs shifted to Belgium because neighboring nations had tougher anti-gang laws. Belgium banned the Hells Angels in 1999. The clubs simply went underground, becoming harder to track and far more dangerous.
Motorcycle club Hells Angels has been banned throughout the Netherlands. According to a judge, the club's culture of violence poses a danger to society. The motorcycle club is active in our province, including Haarlem, EU, and Hilo. A previous attempt to ban the Hells Angels 10 years ago failed.
The weapons of war. The Belgian Biker War was terrifying because of the weapons used. These weren't street thugs with knives and handguns. These were organized criminals with military-grade firepower. The gangs used automatic rifles and machine guns. They deployed hand grenades. They planted explosives and bombs. They wore bulletproof vests and relied on military-grade communications equipment. Where did the weapons come from? Some came from members who had served in the military, others were bought through international arms dealers, and some were stolen from military bases. How they controlled territory. The gangs didn't just use violence, they used fear. Bar owners, tattoo artists, and motorcycle shop owners were given a choice: pay protection money or face the consequences. Witnesses were silenced through intimidation. After the compadres' attack in Landen, most victims refused to talk to police. Those who did faced brutal retaliation. Their homes were burned, they were beaten, and their families were threatened. Ordinary citizens learned to stay quiet. If you lived in a town with a biker chapter, you kept your head down and your mouth shut. From 1994 to 1997, the Hells Angels and Bandidos turned parts of Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland into battle zones. They used rocket launchers, anti-tank missiles, car bombs, and machine guns. 11 gang members were killed, and 74 more were targeted for murder. The violence only ended when both sides realized they were destroying their own businesses. Belgium feared becoming the next Scandinavia, a global war. The Belgian Biker War wasn't isolated. It was one battle in a worldwide struggle between mega gangs fighting for territory. The Hells Angels were the largest, with over 6,000 members and 592 chapters in 66 countries. The Bandidos came second, with 3,000 to 3,500 members and 303 chapters in 22 countries. The Outlaws ranked third, with around 1,700 members worldwide. These gangs operated like multinational corporations. They had hierarchies, regional management, and strict rules. When Belgian chapters went to war, they weren't acting independently. They were following orders from international leadership and receiving support from chapters across Europe and beyond. Where things stand today, the Belgian Biker War has entered a Cold War phase. Violence hasn't stopped. It's just changed. Daylight shootings are rare now, but the conflict continues in the shadows. Police still monitor all major biker clubs closely. They intercept communications and track financial transactions. Major motorcycle events require massive security to prevent flare-ups. The clubs have adapted. Leaders know high-profile violence attracts attention, so disputes are now settled quietly, away from cameras and witnesses. The war continues, but in darkness. The conflict taught law enforcement several key lessons. Bans don't work. New members keep joining, drawn by the outlaw lifestyle, brotherhood, and money. International cooperation is essential. These gangs operate across borders, and police must do the same. Following the money is the most effective strategy. Targeting financial operations, seizing assets, auditing businesses, and prosecuting money laundering. Behind the numbers are real people. Freddie Putt was 52 with a family. Jeff Bankin ran a pub and had friends who mourned him. Michael Garrikins was only 28, with his life ahead of him. They chose to ride with the outlaws, fully aware of the risks. Their deaths show the ultimate price of the biker lifestyle. In this world, loyalty and brotherhood are everything, but that loyalty can also mean a bullet in the back and a car in a canal. The war isn't over. The Belgian Biker War isn't finished. As long as money, drugs, and power are at stake, the gangs will keep fighting. Brotherhood still outweighs the law. From the Hells Angels' arrival in 1997 through the 1999 ban, the 2009 shootings, and the 2011 triple murder, Belgium has faced an enemy that ignores borders, punishment, and authority. Streets in Kortrijk, Maasmechelen, and Landen are stained with blood. Police and courts have spent millions, yet the clubs endure. Young men are still drawn to the outlaw life. Tonight, somewhere in Belgium, plans are being made. Peace is just the calm before the next storm. The Belgian Biker War shows that even in modern Europe, the outlaw code still rules. And when it clashes, the results are always brutal. Its final chapter has yet to be written. The Belgian Biker War proves that even in modern Europe, the outlaw code rules. Loyalty, territory, and revenge collide, and the streets are never truly safe. Click on the next video to see what happens when the most dangerous Mongols in history strike.